It's because we actually listen to the instincts. That's not being done anymore. We literally are listening instead of the trauma complex telling us what the instincts are doing by some abstraction, or telling our mind with these fantasies or these intellectualizations or these theoretical frameworks or whatever we use to deal with the inner world. We Alethica's first aim is to see is to show where the invisible trauma complex is moving, and primarily to start to listen to the instinctual consciousness so it starts to give us more and more feedback, or listen to the signals that it's sending. And we can do that in multiple ways. But once you start listening to it and being respectful of it, since it is the ontological origin, it is the base of who we are, how we think, how we act, how we look, how we feel, the emotions that come from it. It has a consciousness. And once it knows that we're listening to it and we're not taking our little bandwidth of information of the prefrontal cortex or the dominant ego mind, has such a small bandwidth. There's a Miller number where you can only, there's a scientific principle called the Miller number where the prefrontal cortex of the dominant ego mind can only hold 7 things on average. The dominant ego mind has what Carl Jung would call there's a pre-consciousness. So there's a field around us. So when you have a very busy day and you've got 50 things you've got to do, you can't remember all 50 of those things. That's part of the anxiety, right? You can only remember 7 of the things. And if it's too energetic, you can maybe only remember 1 or 2 at a time. But you know that those other 49 things are floating around there, or those 48 things are floating around. So that's a pre-conscious. So the prefrontal cortex can hold certain things, but the instinctual consciousness has an unlimited bandwidth. It's dealing with your ancestors' wisdom in the genome. It's dealing with all the instinctual processes of what it's learned and how it's adapted, and through selective processes, how that genome has stayed alive for millions of years because it adapted well. And so it knows what it's doing, or you want to be here. I mean, it knows exactly, and its bandwidth, it picks up millions of bits of data per second, where our consciousness is actually, its job is to dissociate from that massive bandwidth, or we'd be overwhelmed. And so what Alethica does is it teaches us to listen to that massive bandwidth of the instinctual consciousness. And when you start doing that, it will start sending you emotions. And when those emotions start coming to your consciousness, that completely obliterates the trauma complex, because the trauma complex siphons the emotions to keep feeding itself so it can keep doing all of the difficult, inefficient stuff it has to do to stay out of the time and space field of reality. When you have a trauma complex, everyone knows this. When they look at someone with a trauma complex, and even the person who has it, they know that they are in their own fantasy world. They're reacting to things that we have no idea what they're reacting to. We've all had the conversations like, what are you doing? What's going on here? All I asked was, what are we having for, where are we going to go for the weekend? And then the reaction that you're getting, you don't know what world that they're in, but you would think that they're in Vietnam War or something.